Godzilla Minus One came out recently, right? And it has come with positive reviews. People have said a lot of things about it, and whether or not they are true, we're here to find out. But of course, this Godzilla film is not of the legendary franchise. It is from Toho, aka Japan. So Japan has made their own Godzilla film, and the last one that I think I know of, at least live action, was 2016's Shin Godzilla. Another film that was widely, regarded as a good film. And of course, what do they say about Godzilla Minus One? They say it's the best Godzilla, and whether or not that is true, I'm gonna have to watch Shin Godzilla, right? But it also says it makes Hollywood monster movies, it puts Hollywood monster movies to shame, which is, I don't know, 2023. I don't think a monster movie really came out. The only one I can remember, it's not even a monster film, was Cocaine Bear.
Bruh.
Yeah, that's a very low bar. But of course, they do say it is one of the best movies to come out this year. Whether or not that is true, like I said, we're here to find out. But of course, non-spoiler review and spoiler review coming up. Obviously, first, non-spoiler. Is the movie good? Not even is it great. Is it good? It is. It is, because they say that the original Godzilla film, and basically every time it's rebooted, the first movie is always somewhat of a horror movie, because that's what Godzilla really was, right? A horror movie villain, right? Which would obviously render this ranking useless. But of course, is this somewhat like a horror movie? No. I mean, the first scene, I'm going to tell you something. The first scene is one of the best scenes I've seen in this year, right? And it was horror. Dude, that thing scared the hell out of me. And then the rest of the movies, it's not really horror. It's more action, right? But whatever, right? It's kind of hard making a horror movie with a ginormous lizard, so, But anyways, people said that this movie is good not only because Godzilla, his design looks cool, and is he cool? Yeah. I mean, to me, he looks more like a cat, like a cat design, like his face, instead of like the long snout type from legendary Godzilla, but whatever. Design choice. I still like it. But it's because the human side of the story is really good. And is it really good? Yes, it is. Because you know how most horror movies or monster movies all tend to do the same mistake, and that is putting more emphasis on the monsters / horror movie villains than the actual people in the movie. And of course, when they die or when something happens to them, why should you care? You don't know them. You don't know their story. But this time it's different because instead of Godzilla being the A side and the people being the B side, it is the people being the B side and Godzilla being the A side. Let me tell you something. The amount of time Godzilla's in the movie, for whatever you think Godzilla's in the movie, cut that in half, and I'm pretty sure that's the exact amount of time Godzilla's in the movie. Obviously, it's still a Godzilla movie, obviously, but it is barely any Godzilla. There's the beginning, there's some in the middle, and then, of course, the end scene. But until then, it's usually just the human characters, which has a great cast. Of course, it is in Japanese, so it is subtitles. And, of course, some cultural norms may be lost, American and Japanese, not the same, right? But for the most part, it is a really well-shot movie. Cinematography is great. There are some parts, because they say, wow, they made this entire movie, and I think the budget, like, less than $100 million.
Bruh.
Which, you could tell, certain scenes, you could easily tell that it's less than $100 million that the budget was. But it's still a really great movie. The characters are really good. And overall, if I were to rate this without spoiling it for you, I give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think that's a really, really great movie. Is it the best? No, but we'll talk about that with the spoiler review. But of course, this is the end of the spoiler-free review. It's a really good shot movie, great cast, action scenes, everything's good. The only nitpick some people can make of the movie is more like, I don't know, for me, Godzilla kind of looks a little weird, but then again, whatever. That's a design choice more than it actually being bad. But of course, like I said, end of the spoiler-free review. Time for the spoiler review. If you haven't watched the movie, I highly recommend it, just like most people say. But of course, Godzilla Minus One. Like I said, the main character is, of course, a human, and not like oh, he's a main character, but he's like a side plot, right? But no, he's the main plot. So of course, it's World War II, like most things, but it's basically the end, right? And of course, you got the main character, who is a former kamikaze pilot, and of course, kamikaze is basically, in gamer terms, it's rage quitting. Someone shoots your plane, it's injured, you just crash it into their boat. So but of course, he is scared. He doesn't want to kill himself. And then again, most people don't, but whatever. That's back then that's the culture. It's better to die in war than to return as a loser. But whatever, he did that. And of course, they figure out that he deserted, right? They're checking his plane because he basically went like, oh, my plane's busted up, right? You need to fix it. I can't go kill myself because my plane's broken, right? They go check. They realize, this man bluffing. This man just doesn't want to kill himself, right? And of course, Godzilla attacks the first time. And we get to know who this person is. The main character is scared. Well, he is not ready to pull the trigger. Of course, he couldn't, kamikaze himself. Then again, like I said, most people don't. But of course, Godzilla attacks and they order him to go to his gun, right, on the plane, which is a 20 millimeter bullets, right, which, as he states, will shred through anything. And of course, because they don't know Godzilla, they think he's literally just a prehistoric dinosaur, which would make sense because you wouldn't expect him to do the things that he does later on in the film. So they say 20 millimeter bullets will easily shred him. Go over there and shoot him. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it, and the entire little division that was on the island got destroyed. And of course, the locals already have a legend of it, which is really weird. Because a giant prehistoric lizard just doesn't appear and attack locals, and that just does not become news or something, or the military doesn't know, but whatever. I guess they got bigger things to deal with, like the U.S., but whatever, right? That's the first attack. He returns home, realizes that his parents died, and his sister's children died. Of course, she finds out that he's back, right? Because, like, you're back. Like, of course, you think, like, was he not happy? And he's not like, oh, right, he's a kamikaze pilot, and he came back. He's not supposed to come back, right? Basically, he's supposed to die. He basically said, oh, it's your fault that my kids are dead because you didn't kill yourself. So, that's a lot. But whatever. They start to make amends. They start to grow. But, of course, the main character does get a stowaway, which is a woman and a baby. The baby is not hers. The baby's mother died in the airstrike that destroyed where he lived. Of course, the mom put the responsibility of the baby with her, and whatever, right? He starts to not get better because he has night terrors, obviously, because of Godzilla. But of course, he does get a job, taking out mines that was obviously placed during World War II in a wooden boat. Why? Because the U.S. used magnetic mines, because if you were to use a metal boat, boom, boom, just gone, right? And of course, he goes through day to day. He starts to actually save money, and he actually gets to build himself a nice house. And he still lives with the woman. Obviously, technically, they're not married, but they basically play the role of mother and father to the daughter, or to the girl, right? And of course, they're not married, right? But obviously, she likes him, and at some points, you could tell that he likes her. But he doesn't do it because we later find later on the movie, even though World War II has ended, his war is not over, and that is, of course, Godzilla. And you'd be saying, why am I keep talking about this guy? Because Godzilla's very little in the movie. But anyways, the U.S. can't get involved with Godzilla because the waters that Godzilla, roams is, kind of part of Soviet territory. So they don't really want to do anything because it's like the Cold War. So it's up to the Japanese government to do it themselves. So they send their biggest and best warships after Godzilla, after, the main character and his crew, which is the mine detonation crew, have to distract them. Yeah, Godzilla destroys the warship, like, pretty easily. I mean, he doesn't sink it, but it basically just destroys it, right? And of course, you get to find out Godzilla's main weakness. That is blowing him up from the inside. But of course, he can regenerate. Yep, this Godzilla can regenerate. And it's not like legendary Godzilla's regeneration, where it's like, still has battle scars. Okay, this Godzilla also has scars. But literally, like, within a second, he just starts regenerating. Like, that's OP as hell. Like, how the hell are you supposed to deal with that, bro? Like, what? But of course, Godzilla attacks, was it Ginza? At least that's the location that I said. And absolutely pummels the entire city, right? Because tanks can't do nothing against this guy because his outside of his skin is impenetrable to, regular old machinery. But at the same time, really? I get a mine detonating in his mouth is definitely worse than getting shot with a tank bullet, but tanks can't do anything, bro. That's bull, but whatever, right? So then we get to see Godzilla actually uses atomic breath. Actually, we get to see it when he fights the Japanese warship. I forgot to say, he actually does destroy it. Why? Because they shoot him, he falls into the ocean, think, oh, okay, finally, we got him, right? Nope, he's underwater, boom, blows up the entire warship. And the thing is, his atomic breath, I don't know if it's the same thing as Legendary Godzilla's. And why do I keep bringing up Legendary Godzilla? Because he's like the most recent Godzilla, right? -1s, just shoots his laser, and boom, like the entire bomb, like, damn, like, what the hell? And of course, the government kind of gives up because they're like, well, we just sent our biggest warship against it and it lost. So now what do we do? So, of course, it's up to the citizens to be like, hey, man, we got a plan. Like, what's the plan? You know how sea surface creatures, aka humans, Godzilla, zebras, and all that stuff, can't survive the ocean depths. Yeah, what if we sink them? They're like, how do we do this? Well, we can use like, I don't know, some sort of bubble or something to like make things not buoyant. They just sink like a rock. Of course, they make the plan ready, but of course, the main character knows. Well, he's not. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, the wife dies. Okay, the wife doesn't die, but I'll bring that up later, right? But she does get attacked in Ginza during the attack, right? That's where she used to work, and the main character want to go save her, right? But of course, the plan is to sink him all the way down to the ocean floor where the pressure can get to him, and also the cold, also the sheer cold of the depths of the ocean. But not only that, they're gonna sink him to the bottom and rise him back up because you know how most people say, oh, the divers at a certain depth just can't just randomly just get up anymore because I don't know, something about like the lungs collapsing or something. So they're gonna rapidly descend Godzilla and then rapidly ascend him. So then maybe that just messes him up, right? But of course, the main character realizes that's not good enough. We're gonna have to use a plane to distract him, to get him to the location to sink him. But also, I'm gonna need a kamikaze myself. I'm saying what? Yeah, because like he said, they put a mine in Godzilla's mouth, boom, blew it up, like blew up half his face, like Two-Face up in here. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna have to kamikaze. He doesn't tell anyone else because if he told other people, yeah, I'm gonna go kill myself to kill Godzilla, they'll be like, well, what? Of course, because he has a daughter, right? You can't just leave her. But whatever. But of course, he does do that. He does end up killing Godzilla by ramming a plane with like a humongous bomb inside Godzilla's mouth and explodes. Does he die? No. Why? Because he has an ejection seat, which is something you could clearly tell was going to happen. For the sole fact that before they made the whole plan of trying to sink him, they all are like, okay, I can't force you guys, because it's led by private citizens, right? Like, I can't force you guys to come on this mission to fight Godzilla. It's not war. But just know, it would be greatly appreciated, right? And then they go again, they're like, the Japanese government does not care about us. They kept giving us faulty equipment, faulty lines, starving us to death and all that stuff. And they did not even give us ejection seats in our planes, right? And then literally after he's about to leave, he's like, okay, here's how you detonate the bomb. He says, oh, one more thing, and it cuts off the audio, obviously. And you can clearly tell this dude has an ejection seat, right? And everyone lives happily ever after. Except no, because Godzilla regenerates from the depths of the ocean, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. For the sole fact that Godzilla's head gets exploded, right? Just blown up. Literally, the only thing that's left is his lower jaw, right? And not only that, the atomic energy starts spewing out of him, right? Oh, does he explode? No, for some reason, I don't know why. But he literally crumbles like rubble. Like, literally just starts crumbling to the ground. And he's somehow supposed to survive that. Like, literally, Godzilla literally just self-destructed himself, and he somehow survived. So, whatever, right? That's the only dumb part of the movie that I didn't like. But, of course, you gotta have a sequel. But, of course, spoiler, review is over. Like I said, it's a really good, emotionally driven story, with Godzilla being not the centerpiece, right? But Godzilla, when he arrives, is really cool. Especially the way he shoots his atomic breath with his spike, coming up, right? Growing, I guess. But, like I said, the wife doesn't die, but it's implied that she died in the movie, except when it's revealed at the end. For the sole fact, the Godzilla shot his atomic breath, right? And the shockwave that came after it, you literally see in the movie, like, she pushes him in the alleyway so that, basically the wind doesn't, hurt him. She goes flying. You literally see her go flying, right? But not only that, it's also like a suction event happening where it sucks everything back in, and you're somehow supposed to believe that she survived. What? That's the only dumb part of the movie besides the Godzilla regeneration at the end. But besides that, everything else is good. I mean, the only reason why you would not like it is maybe because you don't get some of the stuff because, Japan. But everything else is really good. Neither the best movie of this year, not so much. I don't think so. But then again, I'm gonna need to think a little bit more than 5 minutes for that, right? But like I said before, Godzilla, like I said, is like an 8.5. You could even bump it up to a 9 for some people. But if someone says 10 out of 10, they're lying because nothing's 10 out of 10, right? But 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 are all valid ratings for Godzilla -1. Anything lower than a 7 is just criminal. But of course, is this better than the American Godzilla films, which everyone says? It depends. Because Godzilla -1 is a good Godzilla movie, but it's also a great movie in general. What that mean is that its story can basically stand on its own even if Godzilla was replaced with something else, right? You don't have to be a Godzilla fan to like Godzilla minus one. But you do need to be a Godzilla fan to be a fan of Godzilla versus Kong, or a Kong fan at least. You know, the American version, you need to be an actual fan of Godzilla, because a regular moviegoer, or especially a film bro, is not gonna like Godzilla versus Kong, or even Godzilla like King of the Monsters. But they are gonna like Godzilla minus one because it's a great Godzilla movie and a great movie in general. The only other movie that comes close to it is, like I said, 2016's Shin Godzilla, for the whole fact that they made these Godzillas more horror like the original. You know, 2014's legendary Godzilla also did it, but not in the same degree as, like I said before, Shin Godzilla and minus one. But like I said, the next movie review is Shin Godzilla. We're gonna compare both of them to see which good Godzilla film is the best Godzilla film. But like I said before, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.